The Alpha Sessions with Emma Joyce.
I'm Emma and this is the Alpha Sessions and I'm here with Beth Keeping. Hello.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming on. I'm so glad we managed to sort this out because we were supposed to get you down in the studio. And then due to coronavirus fun, I guess, plans changed and we're back to doing online sessions. So thanks for, I want to say coming down, but sparing the time to chat to us. And this is really topical actually because you've got a brand new single out.
I do. Worked out very well.
So exciting. It's called Underwater, right?
Yeah, it is.
And what's it about?
So it's about hard times, which is very 2020 appropriate. I actually wrote it last year about a completely different situation that I've been through. And then we were kind of in the middle of the first lockdown and I was thinking, okay, I have a couple of singles lined up, but what am I going to do after that? And then I listened back to this song and I realised how appropriate and on message it was. So I just thought it might help people. So yeah, it was all recorded in lockdown.
Crazy. So did you choose to release it intentionally in lockdown or did it just kind of happen that way?
Well, it just happened that it coincided with lockdown, the second lockdown within like a few days.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just we recorded the track about a year ago, kind of when we were writing the song, and then when I decided to release it, I basically recorded the vocals in like a little in my makeshift booth. I had some blankets over a wardrobe, and I was inside. And
you've obviously had to promote it in a slightly different way to how you would promote a single when we're not in lockdown. Has that proven to be a challenge?
Oh, it's been a real challenge. It's funny. I've actually, because this is the third single I've released this year, two of them were in a proper lockdown. One of them was kind of at the end of June when people were beginning to come out of lockdown again. And it's definitely been a challenge because obviously you can't gig and, build that momentum. But at the same time, I do feel like people are also just listening to more music. They're wanting material and they're wanting a bit of an escape. So it's kind of a bit of a double-edged sword.
So what have you done that's different to what you would normally do to promote a single?
I've done more kind of online shows. So I've been doing, I released the song yesterday. So I did a launch party on Instagram and I just got people to join and ask some questions and stuff. And I did the same for my single Cool Kids that came out in June. And that was actually really fun because it meant that I could have fans from across the world join in. And so I've had people from Indonesia and Taiwan and Australia and the States. And just, they wouldn't have been able to get to an in-person gig. So it's been fun to be able to connect with them kind of on a deeper level than just sending a couple of Instagram messages.
Being online, particularly now when that's one of the few options we have, I think makes the world feel so much smaller than it actually is.
Yeah.
Particularly when we're all in a similar boat anyway.
Yeah, definitely.
This year has been quite crazy. And I think it would have demotivated a lot of people. But I feel like you've been busier or very, very busy this year despite what's been going on in the outside world. What's kept you motivated to just keep doing stuff?
I think I've tried to work out different ways of doing things. I do feel like my life has got a lot smaller since the pandemic. Like before, I had this crazy life where I was always, because I write a lot for other people. So I was always going to like Nashville or like going around the country and writing with people and putting on Write Like a Girl shows, which is this movement that I run. And so when all that stopped.
That in a minute.
Yeah. But it was one of those things where it's like, okay, so I have all this time, what can I do? And so I've been kind of just focusing a lot more on thinking about who I am as an artist and just writing more songs for me, which has actually been really fun. And kind of more recently, I've just taken the pressure off and just tried to just write more songs without thinking about necessarily the point behind them or like writing for a specific project. And I've actually found that really kind of freeing so that there's no pressure. I'm just enjoying being creative and,
Do you think the results have been different because of that?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I'm definitely writing. I mean, I've always written honestly, but I think that at the moment now I'm thinking less about how it kind of sounds commercially and more what kind of it feels to listen to. Okay. So that's all changed.
That's so interesting. I wanted to ask also about your DIY vocal booth. Yeah. I saw a picture of it on Instagram and it looks amazing. How did you make it? And how did you think of like putting all those materials to make it a thing?
Well, I Googled what to do. I'm quite have done this, because there have been people obviously doing podcasts and all sorts of stuff that now obviously can't do it in a studio. And so I actually went down to my grandpa's house. My grandpa had moved into a care home, so they had this like empty house. And so I brought loads of blankets and pillows, and I found a big wardrobe that he had in his bedroom. And I like basically filled it with loads of cushions to kind of have like a little sound wall. And then I just like put loads of towels up and a big like blanket. And it wasn't glamorous at all. Like every time I had to press record and then crawl on the floor and like get up into these blankets, but it was fun. And obviously now I have a producer credit on my song because I did my own vocals, so that's the first time that I've done that. It was fun.
I also imagine it to be almost like, like a fort that you build when you're kids, where you can kind of creep in and hide away from the world. I reckon it was quite handy in that respect.
Yeah, definitely.
So your song, Two Seats Down, I had listened to it and I thought, oh, this definitely must have been released due to like social distancing, fun and stuff. And then I read a little bit about what the song was about and everything, and I realised that it was actually written much before the pandemic. Do you think it was like a really weird coincidence? And what was the story behind it, I guess?
It was really funny, yeah, because obviously I planned this single, and then suddenly about 2 weeks before it came out, we all went into lockdown and there was all this social distancing. And so, yeah, I created a little bit of a meme with the cover, because obviously there were 3 seats. And so I was like, this is appropriate social distancing. Use this as your guide. With the actual song, so I wrote it about 6 months before it came out in Nashville with my friend Lauren McLam, and it was about a wedding that I'd been to a couple of months before in the summer, and an ex-boyfriend from university was there as well, and it was basically about how it feels to see someone that you used to be so close to, like so many years ago, and how obviously you used to know everything about them and now you know nothing at all, and how there's that kind of fondness and that closeness that used to be there, that now they're just like a stranger. So it's kind of exploring that, which I think is very relatable, I think, for lots of people.
100%, and also quite sad, I think.
Yeah, there's definitely like a bittersweetness to it. Like I wanted to get across the point that actually this is a good thing. It's good that we move on and we get on with our own lives and we don't, mourn these relationships and miss these people forever. But there's also a kind of sadness in seeing someone who used to be so important to you and thinking, I don't really miss you, and I hope you're doing well, but I don't really care.
I knew as soon as I got the invitation, you'd be with the girl I heard you dated. I see the ring, I see that you're engaged, and I smile, to say congratulations. You were a rite of passage, you never said you loved pop magic. Maybe we were just drunk, yeah, we had it, but it wasn't enough. And now you're just 2 seats down, a face in a crowd, a stranger passing through town. Just a guy at a party, somebody, I swear I've seen around. I used to think I couldn't live without you. Now I don't know anything about you. Over the years we drifted far apart, but never farther than we are right
The Alpha Sessions with Emma Joyce.
So I get on the tube now and I constantly have that song in my head in terms of like distancing and stuff. I'm like, right, if I sit here, then I'm 2 seats down. So we're kind of all right. And then
I missed the trick with that.
it's so good. And also
TikTok
I feel like if you're unsure on like general COVID rules, that song is a really good outline.
into a jingle for social distancing, people to remember.
It could be a jingle that they play out on the trains and the tube. That'd be so good.
I'm gonna be rich.
Yeah. So you chatted briefly about Write Like a Girl, and I have so many questions to ask you about it because I think it's an incredible initiative. I wanted to firstly ask why you chose to set it up.
Well, so I had the idea for it for quite a while because I'd been to all these kind of networking nights and when I was just first starting out as a songwriter, and I realised that I was literally one of about 2 or 3 women in the room, and it was all men, particularly middle-aged men, but also kind of younger guys as well. And I was kind of like, okay, where are the women? And I had some more conversations, and I'd been to Nashville and seen this thing called the Song Suffragettes, which is a similar movement where they do similar kinds of gigs, and they started because of the kind of gender disparity on country radio. And the more that I was chatting with people, the more I realised that how few female songwriters there are. And so I got together with a couple of friends, Emily Faye and Vic Allen, and we decided to do a tour across the UK, kind of promoting female artists from across the country. And so we used the Write Like a Girl name, and then it's kind of grown from there. And now we put on shows in London, but we don't at the moment. But last year we were kind of doing sellout shows in London, and we'd started at the beginning of this year to do them in Newcastle and Bristol as well, which was really exciting. So hopefully next year they'll be able to come back.
So cool. Did you see more of a disparity within the artist side of things or within the songwriter side of things, or both? Or
it's interesting. I think that it's actually about the same. If you look at the statistics, there's a lot of stuff that's come out recently that shows that I think it's about 19% of artists who are played on the radio, for example, are female. And if you look at the songwriters behind the songs, it's about the same. But I think that because artists are so much more in the public eye, you don't think that there's that much of a disparity, because you see people like Taylor Swift and Ariana Grande and Charli XCX. You hear them on the radio and you see them on the TV, so you think, oh, there are female artists. But I think with songwriters, you kind of you just don't know. It's not obvious to you, but I think it is about the same.
Oh, I'd love it to get to a point where these conversations didn't even need to be had anymore, because like it's just they are an artist and they happen to be a woman, or they are an artist and they happen to be a man, or whatever. It's not a thing. And the same with other, I think, ethnic diversities. Like I'd love to get to a point where it's not even an issue.
100%.
So do you write songs together?
Yeah, so I always write. I tend to write with other people. So the single that I just released in June, Cool Kids, I wrote that actually myself, and then I took it to my producer and she kind of helped me tweak it a little bit. But usually I like to write with other people, just because I find it's more collaborative, and I'll have all these ideas, but actually I know that I can only get it to a certain level because I've got my strengths are kind of lyrical, and so I can come up with some good melodies, but I think sometimes I need to bring it to someone who's really strong at that, and then it kind of just takes it to a level that I wouldn't get to on my own. But I just love writing for other people as well, and it's just really fun to have that energy in the room and share your stories and come up with kind of different perspectives and just find out more about life and how we feel and that kind of stuff.
Is that how it works for Write Like a Girl as well? Do you normally come up with the initial and then bring it to the girls, or is it like a complete joint effort?
So the Write Like a Girl gigs that we do, we get everyone to come and bring their own material. So they're kind of writers' round sessions where we have about 4 artists on stage, and people kind of play a song one after the other. And then we always encourage people to interact as well and say what it is that they like about each other's songs. But we have had loads of songs and collaborations that have come out of that, when artists have met each other and thought, oh, I really love the way that she writes. I definitely want to go and write with her after this gig. So we've had a lot of songs come out of it, but it's been a kind of organic kind of thing.
That must feel so good when that happens. A bit like you kind of match made a couple, I imagine.
Yeah. It's really fun. And I've met so many girls, the Write Like a Girl nights that I've then gone on to write with or had plans to write with before the pandemic came in.
Do you think the disparity has improved in terms of male to female ratio? Obviously, we've got a long way to go.
We do have a long way to go. I think it has got better. When we started Write Like a Girl in 2018, I think the ratio, I think it was 17% of songwriters that are women. And now I think it's 18.4%. So it's gone up by 1.4%.
Yeah.
But it's interesting that I think in lockdown, the number of women who are producing their own music and becoming more confident with the kind of technical side of it is growing a lot. Like, because I think at the moment it's about 2 or 3% of producers are female, which is just crazy low. But I think that having this time, people are actually learning. Like, I've learned how to do like some production in lockdown, and I know lots of other women who have. So I'm hoping that in the next couple of years we'll see people becoming a lot more confident because they've had that time to use, you know, to develop their skills, and then they've been encouraged to see other women do it. So hopefully they'll encourage more people, like, as it kind of keeps continuing.
Everyone left. You called me walking stick, anorexic. Looking at me made you wanna vomit. Don't you remember that? Oh, there are things I think because you said them. When you're in your teens, you don't forget them. But now the cool kids listen to my music. Guess you grew up and made them look stupid. I've got the power now, but I'll choose not to use it. Now the cool kids listen to my music. I heard I got your respect at last, because I went for my dreams and you wish that you had done that. You used to follow me around, put me down, make yourself look bigger. Now you just follow me on Twitter. Now the cool kids listen to my music. Guess I grew up and made them look stupid. Oh, I've got the power now, but I'll choose not to use it. Now the cool kids listen to my music. Feelings, I dodged your bullets, won't hold it against you. Yeah, I got through it. Let's build bridges. We're both human, and don't get me down, cause I knew you must have had your own stuff going on. I know you picked on me to try to look strong, but I got tougher when you came along. You called me a loser, but I think I just want another cool kid to listen to my music. Now the cool kids listen to my music. I've got the power now, but I'll choose not to use it. Now the cool kids listen to my music. Listen to my music, music. Listen to my, music. 'Cause I've got the power now, but I'll choose not to use it. Now the cool kids listen to my music.
The Alpha Sessions with Emma Joyce.
What about inspirations? Where would you say, in terms of artists, who would you say are your inspirations?
Oh, I have so many. I'd say kind of growing up, my inspirations were very different to the sort of music that I make now. There's an artist called Delta Goodrem who I grew up listening to. I watch her Neighbours, and yeah, people don't really know about her too much now, but she was really famous back in the day with her first album. And I don't know if you remember it, but it was just one of those things that like I just kind of got hooked. I was about maybe 12 or 11 or 12 when I first found out about her. So I was listening to all of her stuff, and she really inspired me because she wrote her own songs and she played her own instrument. And so I started writing after that. And then kind of there were folk artists that I listened to, like Martin Joseph and people like that, who used a lot of lyrics. But I think nowadays I'm really inspired by pop artists like Lauv and Nina Nesbitt and this girl called Sasha Sloan as well, who really, and of course Taylor Swift, the Queen, who kind of just really tell stories in their lyrics, and they're really honest and they're really real. And that's what I think has inspired me to really just be as honest as I can in my own stuff, because I think that's how songs become really relatable, when people are really digging deep into how they really feel about something.
Definitely. And obviously we spent probably more time where we live than we ever have this year. What tunes would you say have got you through the past few months?
Oh gosh, oh my word.
Sorry, big question.
I've been listening to a lot of worship music. I'm a Christian, so I've been doing a lot of that, and that's kind of helped me to stay uplifted. And then there's a lot of pop artists that I've just been discovering, just kind of on Spotify playlists. There's a production duo called Lute, and I've been listening to a lot of them. They've got some really cool melodies, and so yeah, just going through Spotify and just listening to a lot of kind of upbeat stuff has been getting me through.
So, pandemic aside, if you were to get a call tomorrow and they said to you, you could play a gig anywhere in the world, where would that be?
Oh, I'm going to be really boring. I absolutely love house shows. I think they're my favourite things to play ever, because I just find that they're so more intimate. So I'd love to do like a house show somewhere really cool, like on a rooftop in New York or something. Yeah. Or, I don't know, in a tree house or somewhere like that. That would be really my dream gig. Like, I'm less kind of concerned in like huge venues and more just kind of somewhere cool and vibey where I can meet people and chat to them.
And you can collaborate with anyone, dead or alive, at this dream gig. Who would be with you?
Oh, I have to say Taylor Swift. I mean,
okay. Nice. And then you can have a dream rider in the run up to the gig. So I guess like a wish list of your chosen things. What would be on that rider?
Oh, I'd have a bottle of champagne for afterwards. I don't drink while I'm singing, but I'd like to celebrate with that afterwards. Oh goodness, I'd like to keep nice and warm, lots of heaters around, lots of fluffy cushions, and lots of nice chocolates and that kind of stuff would probably be what I'd go for.
Okay, cool. And if people want to find out more about you, where can they go? What can they do?
You can go on my website, bethkeeping.com, or I'm on all of the social media channels, and please check out my music on Spotify and Apple Music. I'm just Beth Keeping on everything.
Cool. Thank you so much for sparing us the time to come online, and hopefully we'll get you down to the studio in real life.
Yeah,
soon.
That'd be great. Thank you so much for having me.
I'm at my tape against the tide and fighting for. I'm holding my breath for nothing against I can't swim to the surface no more. I don't need to pick me up, don't need you to pull me up. This feeling's bigger than us and I feel it too much. You hate to see me like this, just know you don't need to fix it. Come and calm me down, it's all I need now. When nothing you can say will make it better. Could you love me underwater? When I'm sinking down, can we go there together? Could you love me? Could you love me? Underwater, under the water. Could you love me? Could you love me? Could you sit beside me? When everything within me feels broken, and I hope you don't mind me clinging to you so I can't lose myself in this ocean. I don't need to pick me up, don't need you to pull me up. This fight is bigger than us and I can't fight it off. You're my safety when I get all caught up in the riptide. Yeah, you calm me down, you're all I need now. When nothing you can say Did you love me?